You are now listening to Playbook Radio. Here is your host, Martin Williams.
And welcome to Playbook Radio. My name is Martin Williams. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. You may do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. All the links to the podcast can be found at gameplanplaybook.com. That's gameplanplaybook.com. So today what I wanted to talk to you about is how everything is finished. So in 2006, I believe, the Miami Heat were playing the Dallas Mavericks in the NBA Finals, and the Heat were not considered the favorites in that series. Many people had picked the Mavericks to win that series. And so something that happened during the series was, in a lot of ways, a turning point for Miami. The coach of Miami at the time was a man by the name of Pat Riley, who's considered one of the greatest NBA coaches ever. He won championships with the Los Angeles Lakers, and then he won 2 more with the Miami Heat. And Riley is considered a master motivator, right? And someone who has studied psychology and personal development and brought that into coaching. And in this particular series, he did 2 things that helped motivate the team. Even though, like I said, Miami was not favored, they had stars, but a lot of their stars were more or less past their prime. Shaquille O'Neal, Alonzo Mourning, they were both considered past their prime. They had a player by the name of Dwayne Wade, who is a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest players to play the game. He was emerging. He hadn't really reached his prime yet, but he was one of those emerging players. And so, you had some guys who maybe weren't superstars yet, and then you had guys who had been superstars but maybe were past their prime. But none of that mattered to Riley. He motivated his team, and he did 2 things. And the first thing he did was he told the team to only pack 1 suit for Game 6. And the reason why he told them to pack 1 suit was because, when they went back to Dallas for Game 6, there was a possibility that they could play a Game 7. But by packing the 1 suit, what he was telling them is that we're only staying for 1 night because we're going to win Game 6, right? So he was giving them a subconscious jolt of, don't plan on staying past 1 night because you're gonna take this game and you're gonna go home with the trophy. And the second thing that he did, and I look for the source of it, but I remember Shaquille O'Neal saying it after the game. The second thing he did was that he told the players that on the date of Game 6, and this was early in the series, he told the players on the date of Game 6 that they were going to win the NBA championship and they were going to hold up the trophy. Okay? So he gave them an exact date and he gave them an exact time. And it worked. And it only worked because they believed it. But what he did was that he incorporated a principle that everything is finished. Okay? And one thing that we don't often, a lot of people live and die and never get it, never understand it, but that everything is finished. We live in a world of infinite possibilities, and we live in a world of infinite outcomes. And because we don't think about all the different ways that a situation can go, we tend to think that life is random. But it's not as random as we think, right? Because anything is possible, and there are infinite possibilities. Like science has proven this, right? There was a Nobel Prize given to scientists who said that there are infinite universes, right? So there's, this is something that's been more or less proven and studied out. So I know it sounds very spooky, but it's not really that spooky. It's really More so, we just lack the understanding of it. But there's infinite possibilities, and things can go an infinite amount of ways. And a lot of times what ends up happening is that, we succumb to our problems. We put up with things that we don't necessarily need to put up with. And if you understood that your goal is something that is already a completed fact, that there's many versions of you. Let's say that you want to lose weight, and then there's a version of you at every weight, right? There's a version of you, let's say your goal weight is 200 pounds. There's a version of you at 189, 190, 191, and so on, infinite, right? And you can just decide that that you are at that place, right? You're at that weight, and you can just decide that. And at that point, it just becomes really a matter of time and keeping your mind convinced that you're at that weight. And that's the work. And if you do that work, you will get the result because everything is finished. The reason that Pat Riley could tell his team with the level of confidence that he told them that they would win the NBA championship because it had already happened. And I don't know if he was thinking like that, but from what I've learned is that this thing has already happened. And once you know that it's already happened, it's not something that you're trying to make happen. You're not trying to, move heaven and earth to make something happen. This thing has already happened. You already lost the weight. You've already reached your goal weight. You've already achieved debt freedom. You've already done it, right? And so you've got to convince yourself to the point of delusion that this is a finished reality. And at that point in time, you can essentially write your ticket in life, because there are people who, and they don't always come from the most affluent backgrounds, but there are people who they are just able to, walk into money, walk into opportunities, walk into all these different things because they know on a subconscious level that it's already done. There's a story in Think and Grow Rich where a sales manager had told a salesman who was down on his luck and had low confidence that the next person that he called on, it was going to be a guaranteed sale, right? He told the man, look, just go over there. He said, I've already called him. I've already called the manager, the business owner. And he said, it's a guaranteed sale. Just go over there with the order book and just take the order, right? So he convinced the guy to go over there, and the guy got the sale. But the rub was that the manager had never called the business. The manager never did anything. He just gave that idea to his salesperson, and the salesperson believed to the point that he was in delusion that the call had been made, but in fact no call had been made. But he got the sale, so wasn't that the whole point, right? Now, I'm not saying lie to people, but you may have to lie to yourself in order to get what it is that you want. And if you lie to yourself long enough, you start to believe it. And we see that in negative context because there's times when we have to be real with ourselves. But when you're creating something, that's the time to lie to yourself. You have to put yourself in a state of delusion, like temporary delusion, to create something you've never had. And that's something that no one or very few people will ever tell you. But you gotta put yourself there so you can achieve the thing that you want to achieve and do the thing that you want to do. And really what it is not even that you're achieving it. If anything, you're bringing it into the world of the scene, because everything you want is already done. It's just invisible. But just because it's invisible doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. The Wi-Fi signal is invisible, but it exists. I mean, I'm speaking over it now. I'm delivering the podcast over it now. So it exists, but it's invisible. Same thing with whatever it is that you want. But you have to create a state of delusion and understand that everything is completed and that everything is finished. And then at that point in time, what you will start to have is, once you understand that everything's finished, you'll start to feel differently. That despair that maybe you were feeling before, now you're feeling confident. Now you're feeling excited. Now you're feeling hope. Now you're feeling, just a lot of different positive emotions, because, you're walking and you're learning about creativity. So remember, everything is finished. Nothing is going to happen. It's already happened, but you got to align with it. So my name is Martin Williams. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to Playbook Radio. If this episode helped you, please share it with family and friends. For more about Playbook strategies, please go to GameplanPlaybook.com.